Welcome to Make It Rain with Adam Schein on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Yes, Friday. Hello, Friday. Football Friday edition of Make It Rain with Adam Schein here on VSiN. And my goodness, there's so much to do with the world of sports. NFL draft, baby. Are you kidding me? Absolutely, positively, unbelievable, action-packed, sizzling NFL draft last night. First round is in the books, and only thing better than round number one is day number two. We have bets, we have predictions. We're going to tell you the home runs we hit, the singles we missed. So much to do here on a Football Friday edition of Make It Rain with Adam Schein, and we are extra fired up, and my goodness, we are all sorts of ready to rock and roll here for a Football Friday edition of Make It Rain with Adam Schein. The draft had unbelievable pop, unbelievable sizzle, and for a draft where you weren't totally sure what was going to happen and how much juice you would actually have, my goodness, this was unbelievable stuff. We'll get into some NBA later in the show. Will Hill is going to join us. Looking forward to that. But let's start with the holy cow wow moment of the evening with Travis Hunter, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Are you kidding me? That was absolutely positively amazing. We're talking about taking a swing and trading for Babe Ruth. That was absolutely positively amazing. And how about James Gladstone, the outstanding young general manager for the Jacksonville Jaguars? He is in his first draft, and my goodness, you want to talk about swinging for the fences and drafting Shohei Ohtani. That was absolutely positively amazing. I could not get enough. And listen, if you're a fan of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Duval, baby, take a look at this draft board. I mean, you want to talk about giving up a haul, but it's absolutely worth it. My goodness, this is unbelievable stuff. And, you know, it would have to be a Herculean kind of trade for me not to kill the Cleveland Browns. And I'm on record saying you don't pass up on Shohei Ohtani. Listen, I think Cleveland got that Herculean kind of deal. So, you know, they take Mason Graham at 5. They get a first-round pick in 2026, a second-round pick tonight, an extra second-round pick. And for a team that's not close, that is absolutely incredible. And when you look at Travis Hunter, this cat's got it going on. Travis Hunter is the Heisman Trophy winner. And Travis Hunter absolutely is going to be a superstar on offense. Jag said today at their press conference that they're going to have him full-time at receiver, in the receiver meeting rooms. Remember, he wasn't even full-time as a wide receiver at Colorado. And listen, it's just amazing watching him do his thing. He can truly become one of the best wide receivers in the NFL instantly. And now, Trevor Lawrence, new head coach Liam Cohen, they've got Brian Thomas Jr., and they've got Travis Hunter. I mean, this is sizzle. And look, we're talking about a smaller market team, and obviously you get a sensational player who's going to focus on offense, still play defense, play corner. It's going to impact the offense and the defense and give you a buzz. I mean, Travis Hunter, it's must-see TV. I'm watching the entire draft with my son Theo last night. He's a Bills fan, but he loves collecting his favorite jerseys. He looks at me and says, Dad, can I get a Travis Hunter Jacksonville Jaguars jersey? The answer is yes. And absolutely. I mean, look at his receiving yard props already for this upcoming season. You know, you look at it from a Travis Hunter standpoint. I mean, can't stop, won't stop. I mean, I think my favorite bet here is the 900 plus at plus 500. That's what we're talking about when you look at Travis Hunter for this upcoming season. So I think the Jaguars are going to be better than people anticipate. Their futures odds board has them at 7.5 in terms of the win total from minus 125. I also don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to talk about Jacksonville winning the AFC South at plus 320. So I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be in play for everything here. And I think this was a transformational pick. A tremendous job by James Gladstone, the new young, super smart and aggressive GM. Learned from Les Snead and Sean McVay. Bleep them picks. That was the mentality. That rocked and shaped the entire draft last night. And that was truly incredible stuff. Now, how about the New York Football Giants? We have been saying it for months on Make It Rain with Adam Schein, that this team has to take Abdul Carter with the third overall pick and has to trade up for a quarterback, specifically Jackson Dart. Bam, bam. Absolutely incredible when you take a look at what the Giants were able to do last night. That was amazing. This is the dream scenario. Joe Schoen, take a bow. Just absolute perfection here from a Giant standpoint. And Abdul Carter is Micah Parsons. That's how I view him. He's the second best player in this draft. When you have Abdul Carter, and you have Brian Burns, and you have Thibodeau and Sexy Dexy on the defensive line together, the Giants are going to win games in terms of the pass rush. Now, obviously, they needed a quarterback. And we've talked about Jackson Dart, who, and it's not a direct comparison, but I feel the same way about him, and I mean this as the ultimate compliment, as I did about Baker Mayfield coming out of the draft in 2018. You know, when you start talking about the arm and, you know, he can make some throws where he's super aggressive, but he's a really good athlete. He's super smart. And I think you almost forget, right? Because, you know, of everything that happened with, you know, all the injuries and Daniel Jones giving him the contract extension. Brian Daboll is a quarterback whisperer. Remember that first year when Daboll had Jones and maximized him, and then think of Josh Allen and the work that he did? I love Jackson Dart, and this kid, they needed him desperately. And they didn't give up a first-round pick. And I told you this was going to happen. They traded pick 34, 99, a 2026 third-rounder to go get Dart at 25. They didn't give up their first-round pick next year. Let's say it doesn't work or everyone gets fired or they want to trade up for another quarterback next year. They can still do that. Spoiler alert, it's not going to happen. I love Jackson Dart. I told you he was going to be the second quarterback picked. That was a prop that absolutely hit last night. The dream scenario holds for the New York Football Giants. My goodness. Joe Schoen, GMing for his job. Brian Daboll on the hot seat. I still love Brian Daboll. And take a look at the Giants and their win total, right? The over-under, if you pick the over right now, there's juice. Plus money, plus 115. Can the Giants win 6 games? Yeah, and I think they'll have a plan. Russell Wilson will start. The key is the minute Russ looks cooked, you have to go to the bench and go to Jackson Dart, get him some time. You know, Jacoby Brissett was once the starting quarterback for the New England Patriots. I get it and how you frame it, how you sell it, and then, bam, you do the right thing. I love this. We've been killing the Giants when they make really asinine decisions. This is one, if you're a Giants fan, you have to celebrate. How about what transpired last night with Shedeur Sanders and the Pittsburgh Steelers? And listen, we talked about this. I thought for sure that Shedeur Sanders was ultimately going to the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 21 overall. I vehemently disagree with Mike Tomlin and the Steelers passing on him. It's the most important position in sports. Even if they sign Aaron Rodgers and it's clear Rodgers doesn't want to be there, they still need a future franchise quarterback. And, you know, I think Shedeur Sanders is between Andy Dalton and Kirk Cousins. And that means he can be a starter for a long time in the NFL. They currently have Mason Rudolph as their quarterback. I mean, you know, that's amateur hour. They have botched this since the end of Ben Roethlisberger. Think back to Kenny Pickett and obviously everything that happened with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields and this offseason. And there is no plan, no clue. This team hasn't won. This organization hasn't won a playoff game since the calendar year of 2017. 2016 regular season. They beat, ready for this? Alex Smith and the Chiefs, January 2017. TJ Watt has never won a playoff game. Cam Hayward's never won a playoff game. These are problems here. This is because they have totally messed around and found out when it comes to the most important position in all of sports. And look, I feel bad for Shedeur. Bad advice. Didn't go to the Senior Bowl. The interviews where he was cocky with obviously the different coaches and teams and executives, and it's I feel bad for him. I genuinely do. Now take a look at the odds board now of who's going to draft Shedeur Sanders. He will get picked tonight. Look, a lot of people think it could be the Browns at the top. Don't be surprised when Tyler Shough gets picked before Shedeur Sanders. Browns now have ammunition to also get their quarterback next year after the trade. I think that's what they'll focus on. Listen, I think the Saints make a lot of sense if they don't pick Jalen Milroe, and I'll shoot my shot with New Orleans here as the next team that drafts Shedeur Sanders. How about the Raiders? The Raiders got it done. Ashton Genty. We've been talking about this for months on Make It Rain with Adam Schein. The Raiders, unbelievable. After the Jags traded up to get Travis Hunter, that means Jacksonville wasn't going to take Genty. Raiders let everything just fall back to them, and bam! They drafted the third best player in this draft. They literally had nobody worth their salt at the running back position. Now they have a star. Genty's going to be the rookie of the year on offense. Genty is going to go over 1,300 yards, a plus 300 for next year. He's tough. He's physical. He sheds all sorts of potential tacklers. They bring in Geno Smith, who I love. Spytek, the GM, said he couldn't go home to his son if he didn't draft Genty. Pete Carroll, I love it. Chip Kelly likes that nasty physical running backs. Good for Tom Brady. Have Brock Bowers. I'm telling you, Raiders over 6.5 wins, minus 145. Let's go.
You're watching Make It Rain on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Unlock your winning edge with an unbeatable offer. Get full VSiN Pro access to everything we do from now through August the 1st for just $59. Sign up now, save 50% off the regular monthly price with a daily email recapping all the best bets from the VSiN Host and all the guests. Includes betting splits and DraftKings and certain sports books, complete with trends, analysis to sharpen your game. 24/7 video on the VSiN Watch app, plus full VSiN.com access featuring advanced analytics and pro betting systems. Every sport, every edge, one low price. Don't wait. Get full access through August the 1st for just $59 at VSiN.com/subscribe. VSIN.com/subscribe. Welcome back to Make It Rain with Adam Schein. Listen, let's go through some of our favorite bets from the NFL draft over the last couple of weeks. And it's interesting going back over some of the hits and some of the misses, as an example, right? Yesterday at this time, no one ever in a million years could have seen the Jags-Browns trade coming. And I thought for sure Ashton Genty would go in the top 5. So we tried to hit a single on that, and that did not transpire. I still think Tyler Warren should have gone in the top 10. Don't regret that one at all. And I thought that was an absolute lock, whether it was the Jets or the Panthers and, certainly the Chicago Bears. So that did not happen. Packers made an unbelievable pick by drafting Matthew Golden, who was my favorite number 1 receiver in this draft. And listen, he was there for Green Bay, and they went against that. So over 2.5 running backs, I took the flyer on that. That one did not hit. I thought the Cardinals would take a running back. They went defensive tackle. I love that. Listen, Jackson Dart, we talked about that yesterday, to go in the top 10. I felt like we locked that in a plus 600 3 weeks ago. Yesterday I got the intel that wasn't going to happen. Saints will probably go, and I said as much on Make It Rain with Adam Schein. So said as much in terms of, what ultimately would happen with Dard. So I think the only one here that I kind of regret is the over 2.5 running backs. That was the most dicey. The hits are strong. Jackson Dart, second quarterback drafted. We felt good about that one. Chargers running back. Look at the juice attached to that puppy at plus 500. And Colston Loveland, we love it, to go in the top 10 at plus 550. So 3 and 7 if you look at the results. But on the plus side in terms of the monetary juice value, if you look at where the bets were. I'm still pissed about the Cowboys one, and we'll get into that. That one bothers me, and I'll tell you why as we move along in the show. But let's go through some of the other draft takes and plays here. And look, I'm obsessed with Marion Hampton to the Chargers. And I told you that the Chargers are going to draft the running back at plus 500. And Omarion Hampton, back-to-back seasons in North Carolina, 1,500 yards. He's Alvin Kamara. That's who he is. In fact, I was disappointed, surprised that Sean Payton didn't draft the next Alvin Kamara. And I'm sure that they'll draft the running back. The Broncos will later today. But part of my thought process on going with the 3 running backs, Broncos take Hampton and then the Chargers take someone else. I thought Hampton could also go to the Dallas Cowboys. Let me tell you something. We've been talking about the Chargers needing a running back forever, and this is perfect. And this is a star. This is a stud. Najee Harris, good signing. He's a good player, not a great player. It's a 1-year contract for Herbert, for Harbaugh, for Roman. This is amazing. Look at the Chargers and their futures, right? I'm just telling you right now, I have 2 plays on the Chargers today. AFC West, plus 310. Win total over 9.5, minus 110. That's how much I'm obsessed with what the Chargers did this offseason and what they did last night with Omarion Hampton. I still can't believe it. We love Colston Loveland in the Bears offense. And to me, he's a better Sam Laporta, who Ben Johnson had in Detroit. And Laporta can be a freak. Loveland's awesome, right? And let me say for the record, I would have picked Warren over Loveland, but Loveland in this offense is just incredible. So I told you to take Loveland in the top 10. We felt great about that at plus 550. I thought Warren would go 7. Then I thought the Bears would take Loveland. And I thought there was a shot that teams like the Rams and the Broncos would trade up for Loveland. The Colts would trade up for Loveland. And I thought Warren would be off the board. Instead, this is pretty remarkable here when you take a look at Colston Loveland going in the top 10. I love the fit. I love the Bears. Can we lock in the win total today? We're going to. Bears, 8.5 plus 110. You're welcome, America. This team's going to win 9 games instantly. And my only question is how far I'll take them to go just a playoff team or ultimately to win the division. But I can't stress enough how much I love Loveland in Chicago. And look, the Colts, and I kill Chris Ballard when applicable, which is always, they gobbled up Ty Warren. They stayed patient. They were able to draft Tyler Warren. I love this. This guy's a freak. He wears 44 for my guy, John Riggins. He can do it all. I thought the Jets should have picked him. I thought Carolina should have picked him. I think Ty Warren is a winner, a warrior. You know, people have compared him to Dallas Clark. Frankly, he has more talent than Dallas Clark, and Dallas Clark was unbelievable when you take a look at it for Indianapolis. So I'm a big fan of Tyler Warren, big fan of his attitude, big fan of his skill and his play and how much he loves it. I am absolutely obsessed here when you look at this draft pick. And, you know, I don't have a play now on the Colts, but I think we're getting dangerously close to going over on the wins. You know, Daniel Jones will be in position to be okay. There are some smart people, including our friend and colleague Rich Gannon, who like Daniel Jones and like him in Indy and like him with Jonathan Taylor and like him with Ty Warren and like him with Shane Steichen and Michael Pittman and Downs and company. So I'm not ready to scream playoffs or win the division for the first time in Chris Ballard's checkered history, but I'm leaning on the over here for the Indianapolis Colts. This was an absolute A-plus pick and an absolute steal. One of the great moments of the night, the Green Bay Packers. Are you kidding me? This was unbelievable. First of all, the draft in Green Bay was awesome. history, Lombardi, more people attending the draft, watching it in Green Bay than actually live in Green Bay. You know, you had the commissioner and Clay Matthews and Lil Wayne riding bikes and James Jones, and the whole thing was awesome. And Mark Murphy, final year as team president, announces the pick. He knew it's been over 2 decades since the Packers have drafted a first-round wide receiver, and they struck gold with our guy, Matthew Golden. I mean, absolutely incredible. He was my number 1 receiver in this draft, plays big in big games. Packers are always on national TV. This is huge. Jordan Love needed this kind of speed demon. Matt LaFleur is going to love him. You could color me obsessed here. I'm happy for the Packers. They're long-suffering fans who have been waiting. I say suffering in terms of the first-round wide receiver. It's like a running joke. They never supported Aaron Rodgers, and bam, they do this for Jordan Love. I love it. This was a tremendous, tremendous pick here. And the overhead in terms of the receivers drafted in the first round, the number was 2.5. I like McMillan, but I was surprised that was the Carolina Panthers pick. I think that was a little rich for my blood, drafting him at 8. We talked about maybe McMillan going, to a team like Jacksonville if they traded down. Liam Cohen had Mike Evans. Dave Canales a couple years ago had Mike Evans. I love Ibuka going to Tampa Bay. That's a tremendous pick. I didn't have either one of these teams selecting a receiver, but they absolutely were able to, especially Tampa, get some good players and get some great value there. I would have gone Ty Warren or defense if I was Carolina, to be honest with you. And again, Matt Golden going to the Packers, I thought that was a tremendous, tremendous selection. And how about Howie Roseman? Are you kidding me? No one executes on draft night better than Howie Roseman. In fact, you should just tear down the Rocky statue and build a statue for Howie Roseman on the steps in Philly. Are you kidding me? Howie Roseman does it again. The fact, and we talked about his name yesterday, John Campbell. That's the guy. He would have been drafted higher in the draft if it wasn't for an injury concern. And we're talking about an SEC stud, Alabama player, vintage Howie Roseman kind of draft pick. And honestly, when you look at the futures for the Philadelphia Eagles, my favorite play on the board, I'm actually surprised that it's not juicy, that it's not more lopsided to win the NFC East. Just nice and simple. Eagles win the NFC East, minus 140. I mean, why not? Who's going to beat them? Not Washington's close, not ready for prime time, even though I did love that Tunsil move. The Philadelphia Eagles, my goodness, it's Howie Roseman's world. We're just living it.
Watching Make It Rain on VSiN, the sports betting network.
This summer, go all in at Circa Las Vegas with the ultimate getaway package. Just $400 all in. You'll get a 2-night stay at Circa, $100 dining credit, $100 beverage credit, and you're going to have your own day bet at Stadium Swim, where the party never stops. All this for $400, resort fees, taxes included. This limited time offer is valid for stays between May 26th and September the 4th. Don't miss out. Lock in your all-in summer package right now. Circa LasVegas.com. Joining us right now live on the Progressive Guest Line. You know him, you love him, you can't live without him. My guy, the great Will Hill. Host, analyst, writer, superstar for VSiN.com. Will Hill, how the hell are you?
Adam, what's going on? Great to be on with you. A big fan of yours, so this is a lot of fun. And we got a lot to talk about. NBA playoffs, NFL draft. This is a great time of the year.
Oh, without question. And listen, for the first 30 minutes of the show, it's been all NFL draft, and I want to get your take. What surprised you the most last night? Was it the Jags trading up for Shohei Ohtani? Was it the Giants trading in for Dart? Steelers not taking a quarterback? Shador falling out? What surprised you the most?
Yeah, who knew we should have been following Joe Shane's son here, trying to figure out draft information, because he tipped his hand the night before with whether it was Instagram or whatever the case was. He better be Ohtani. Speaking of Hunter, he better be Ohtani, because look, he's a really good player, and I understand if he turns out to be all world like a lot of people think, then you're not gonna remember what you gave up. I understand all that, but the draft is just so random. We think we know, but man, you're going to give up next year's one and all these extra picks. You have so many needs. I understand he's going to be a two-way player, a big-time player. I get that, but man, that's a lot to give up. And I guess give him credit, although I don't think it helped me from a betting perspective, because I think this threw the draft for a curveball in terms of the picks and the domino effect. They kept it pretty quiet. I know that Schrager said something on Tuesday that, hey, the Browns are fielding offers. You never know. To me, I was like, oh, I kind of rolled my eyes. That's all smoke. It's not going to happen. And up until the last hour, I was like, I'll kind of see it when I believe it. We all saw it. So I thought it was an overpay. I think it was a good player, but I did think the Jags gave up a lot. Giants came in with a pass rusher and a quarterback. Now, is this regime going to be able to be around long enough to enjoy this stuff? Because I don't know how many games Dart's winning for you next year. So can they survive another, 5-12, 6-11 season? I'm not sure. But going forward, I thought the Giants had a good night. And, boy, the smart teams just continue to remain smart, don't they? The Ravens, the Eagles, the guys they get. As soon as the pick is in, as soon as you see, oh, man, it makes perfect sense. These guys are going to be good players for, 5-8 years. The Spurs used to be like this in basketball, where as soon as they pick someone, that guy's going to be a good player for a decade. I think the Knicks were the opposite for a while, where you get like a Ronaldo Bachman. That's not going to work. Some of these teams are just smart. They get it. Eagles are one of these teams. Ravens are one of these teams. They're good every year. They're good every year for a reason. They draft well. They get it.
Yeah, I think you're making some great points. And it is interesting, Jags ultimately messed up some of the props, right? And we talked about the Schrager report, and Peter's my guy. I sent them a text, and when Peter says something, I know that it's true. But that would have changed my Genti play, and that would have changed my Ty Warren play. I mean, there were a couple of things that had the domino effect on that. So I think you make an excellent point. So now, with all that said, where do you think ultimately Shador Sanders is going to go?
I bet Steelers at 13-1 today, just thinking that they need a quarterback. This is a team, they haven't won a playoff game. For all of the love Tomlin gets and all of they never have a losing season, which we're beat over the head with, it's been basically since the Obama administration that this guy's won a playoff game. You need a quarterback to win. I guess these teams just aren't sold that Sanders is that, and I do think there's an element, if you don't have strong leadership, a strong coach, do you really want to draft Sanders and all the rumors start off? You're 0-2, and then Deion's going to be the coach by week 4, that kind of thing. I think the Steelers make perfect sense, not only because they need a quarterback, they have the strong leadership with Tomlin where he's not going to put up with the nonsense. He can handle the spotlight, the scrutiny of having Shador. I think that's a good fit. I was surprised they didn't take him at 21. I thought that was going to be the landing spot. I really do. So who knows? Maybe he slides a little bit, and the Steelers, who don't have a second-round pick, trade up. Maybe he falls to the third round, which would seem unthinkable, but I didn't really think he was sliding to the second round. So I will go with Steelers. I know the Browns are the favorite. I get it. If you're looking for another dart throw, Indy, would there become a point where Indy, with an offensive coach who says, I can get the most out of this kid. I got Loveland. I got these other guys. We don't feel great about Richardson. Jones is just a flyer. The Colts may be an outside, sort of dark horse for that. But I'm going to go with Pittsburgh, even though, it's 13-1. I think that's worth, pizza better. So.
It's interesting. I think you make some interesting points. The Steelers don't have a second-round pick. There are rumors. Diana Rossini had the report. They're trying to trade, or at least fielding offers on George Pickens. So maybe that's how they can get another day 2 draft pick. So I thought Shador was going to Pittsburgh in the first round. He needed to. Not even for him, for them. I mean, they need a young, talented quarterback. I thought that was an ideal fit. The Saints interest me at plus 600. I think that for New Orleans, it's either going to be Milroe or it's going to be Shador today. I wouldn't even bat an eye if Tyler Shuck ended up going higher off the board today than Shedeur Sanders. I know Cleveland likes him. I wonder if the Raiders or Jets get involved looking ahead down the road at their quarterback position. But I think the Saints at plus 600 make the most sense. But I like that you're taking that flyer still on the Pittsburgh Steelers. If the Dolphins had a brain, they would do it. But spoiler alerts, they don't. Let's get into some NBA, Will Hill. And let's get into the Thunder. And honestly, I'm locked into the draft. My Knicks, they obviously took care of business. Clippers, Nuggets, I'm fascinated by that. I saw the Thunder down by 29. I'm like, okay. I'm good. I'm out. I don't have to pay attention anymore. Wow. And I made a point yesterday on Making Rain with Adam Schein. I wouldn't touch this game as much as I love OKC, and they're my pick to win a championship, and that was my preseason pick. What stood out with the insanity yesterday?
Yeah, Morant goes out, and like you, I was caught up Nuggets, Clippers. I was caught up in the draft. This is one where you can kind of brush to the side just because, look, this is one of these series, and we've got a few of them. There was a time when the NBA was a best of 5 in the first round, not a best of 7. It was so much better, so much more efficient. This is a perfect reminder that we don't need a best of 7 for this first round. A lot of these series, Magic, Celtics, Thunder, Grizzlies, Heat, Cavs, we can get this over in a week. Best of 5, 3-zip, goodbye, go home. We don't need to see any more Memphis. But, yeah, just a great turnaround. Caruso's defense was incredible. Him, Dort, Holmgren, when you put those 3 guys on the court at the same time, I think it's 69 points per 100 possessions, might even be a little lower than that. They've got a lot of length, a lot of defenders. I understand the concerns of, hey, if you take SGA away, do they have a second scorer? They haven't done in the playoffs. All of that. They are a loaded team. Them versus the Clippers is like an NBA Finals level series here. If that's the one we get, which it looks like we're gonna in round 2, that is an overqualified round 2 series. Man, that's going to be a really good team heading home after 2 rounds. But as far as game 4, I haven't played it. I don't love getting involved with these teams that are down 0-3 because you never know if it's 1-2-3 Cancun. Do they have one eye on their offseason? But boy, 14's a hell of a lot of points to be laying on the road.
How about Knicks Pistons? And I'll tell you that was one last night where I thought, I don't want to call it a must-win for the Knicks, but needed to see them actually outplay Detroit. I mean, series was tied at 1. Knicks outplayed Detroit in 1 of the 8 quarters in the first 2 games. So Cat was tremendous. Brunson, tremendous. My ticket on Brunson's over cashed. It did not cash on the Cade Cunningham over. What did you see from Knicks Pistons? What are you looking for, Will Hill, for the contest coming up on Sunday afternoon?
I think the Pistons even it. I think they're close enough here where the home court gets them through. They were able to win that game 2, shooting 6 of 27 from 3. They outplayed them, like you said, for a lot of game 1. Last night, they just couldn't. Every time the Knicks would pull away, the Pistons would get closer. Knicks would pull away again. They just couldn't get over the hump and establish a lead with some comfort. But haven't bet it yet. But I do think this is a series where the Pistons are too good, too evenly matched here to go down in 5. And if they do lose game 4, they'll probably lose game 5 in New York. But I think they've played them pretty well this series. I would expect them to be 2-2 going back to New York here for game 5.
Minute to go. Clippers, Nuggets. The lopsided nature surprised me. This series, my favorite going in. First 2 games, 1 in overtime, 1 down to the wire. What'd you see last night, and who you betting on? I'm taking the Clippers the rest of the way.
I'm taking the Clippers too. This team Jokic has around him reminds me a little bit of some of the times like Mahomes versus the Bucks in the Super Bowl when he just doesn't have the team around him. There's just not a lot of answers. There's not a lot of talent around him. If Murray's not going to be great, it's a lot of Russell Westbrook. Porter Jr. and Gordon are up and down players. The Clippers have answers everywhere. We're seeing Pete Kawhi. Dunn's a tremendous defender. And they got Zubac, who does basically as good a job as anybody on Jokic of at least tiring him out and making him work. Forced him into some turnovers these past few games. So I think the Clippers here, they win in 5, they win in 6. I'm not sure, but it certainly seems like the Clippers are going to be going in the next round.
You're watching Make It Rain on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Playoffs are here. So is VSiN Killer Sports NBA Playoff Challenge. We have invited 15 sharp minds from the world of VSiN and Killer Sports to go head-to-head, making 38 picks each from the start of the playoffs all the way through the NBA Finals. That's a total of 570 NBA playoff picks, all available to VSiN Pro subscribers. Picks are locked in 1 hour before the first game each day, so you'll have the fresh insights to guide your bets every step of the postseason. Right now, you can get full VSiN Pro access through August the 1st through just $59. Pretty great. Don't miss this playoff edge. VSiN.com/subscribe. Sign up today. Welcome back. Make it rain with Adam Schein. Time for our news, notes, nuggets, and nightly plays. And listen, I do feel compelled to pay off Cam Ward going number one overall. This was as expected. We've been giving Cam Ward his love and his props, obviously, all college football season, all draft season, and this is a phenomenal time to be a fan here of the Tennessee Titans. How about today they surprised him at his introductory news conference in Nashville with my guy Warren Moon giving him his number one jersey. There was some concern or speculation, maybe it wouldn't happen because remember, the Titans were the old Houston Oilers, and, they've retired Warren Moon's jersey. And as Moon said today, look, no one's going to wear my Houston Oilers jersey ever again, but Cam Ward should absolutely wear number one. Cam had no idea this was happening. It was ridiculously cool. And by the way, take a look at the Cam Ward passing yards props for this upcoming year. Look, I think if you want to go nice and simple at, 3,000 at minus 150, nice and easy. Nice and easy. We already told you we like the over for the win total for the Tennessee Titans. Curious to see what they do today. I think that even something as minor as the Tyler Lockett, a veteran signing from a couple of days ago, lost in the shuffle with all the draft conversation. I'm excited about this. And, the Giants offered him a major offer. They wouldn't get off of the number one pick in the draft. Cam Ward goes number one, and I think this is great stuff here for the Tennessee Titans. Will Campbell is the newest member of the New England Patriots, and this was also as expected. And we said it yesterday that, everyone we talked to said, Patriots are not making a trade. They're picking Will Campbell, have to address the tackle position and the offensive line, and they weren't worried about, small arms. I mean, this guy's a star. And how about when he said he's going to fight anyone and protect Drake May to his death? I mean, that's, amazing. It's, and Drake May couldn't get enough. So I love this pick. And I'm telling you, the Patriots could be a surprise team this year. I'm not going nuts, and Bill Belichick and Tom Brady aren't walking through that door, but I'm obsessed with Mike Vrabel as a head coach. Look, I'm not ready to tell you grab the over yet. I want to see what the rest of the draft looks like and the rest of the conference looks like. But I don't think it's crazy here. Let's just start bare bones minimum. That the New England Patriots finish in second place in the division. Like, that's not nuts. Buffalo, draw a line. Can the Patriots, with Drake May getting pass protection, throw into Stephon Diggs, can the Patriots finish second ahead of the Dolphins, who I can't stand this year? I think they're awful. And ahead of the Jets? Absolutely they can. Absolutely. Speaking of the Jets, I thought they would take Ty Warren. They didn't. They went with the tackle, Amon Membo, which is a good pick. I am not surprised. Aaron Glenn, first draft, when meat and potatoes. I thought Ty Warren, especially on the heels, different brass, different regime. They passed on Brock Bowers last year, which I vehemently disagreed with. So I would have gone with the tight end this year. They didn't. We'll see if they get a tight end later in the draft coming up today. Falcons, Rams. My goodness. First of all, I want to make sure we're clear on something, right? The Atlanta Falcons needed help getting to the quarterback, and they nailed it. And, the past four drafts, first round, they haven't taken someone who can get to the quarterback. And they haven't taken a first round Georgia player since the 60s. I mean, they haven't taken a first or second round Georgia player forever, which is absurd. Everyone takes Georgia players. They're great. They're talented. They win. They're buttoned up. They play in the SEC. Everyone does it but the Atlanta Falcons. It's crazy. So I love the Walker pick. Now, they trade into this first round again to pick number 26 to get James Pierce. James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee is an elite pass rusher. This is an area of need. But guys, put the trade details on the screen for America to see. This is crazy. This is, in terms of trade value, this is absurd. And I just want to hit this home. First of all, great deal for the LA Rams. Great deal for the Rams. The Falcons better win 11-plus games this year. Because if this pick turns out to be gold for LA and or helps the Rams get their future franchise quarterback to replace Matthew Stafford eventually, whenever he calls it a career, I mean, here's the deal, right? This is so stunning in terms of the compensation. And the Falcons should be able to win the division. Tampa's always really good. Tampa's got, Jason Light always cleans up in the draft. We mentioned earlier, the wide receiver. Team is strong. Panthers are no slouch anymore. We talked about they got McMillan. Saints will get their quarterback tonight. None of these teams are great, though. Falcons with Michael Penix Jr. and Robinson, and now with the pass rush, and Kyle Pitts and Drake London, they have to be able to win the division. Home playoff game, 11-plus wins. I mean, this is a must. And I'll take it a step further. This, to me, impacts, and I've been of the opinion, as you know, they have to trade Kirk Cousins had to go, right? One of the biggest busts in history in terms of free agency. The expectation was, maybe still is, trade him to Pittsburgh. Let me tell you something. The backup quarterback position is now one of the most important positions on this team because you can't fade away. You can't lay an egg. If Penix, God forbid, gets hurt, you still have to win games because you don't have your first-round pick for next year. So you have to make sure that you either have Cousins in place or you have a legit backup quarterback that you could win with. Seriously. Otherwise, this is going to be just cringe-inducing and nerve-wracking. It's a win if Pierce plays great and you win 11-plus games. It's a loss if it's a mid-level draft pick. Everyone's going to get fired if it turns out to be a top 10 pick. That's the danger in something like this. I don't want to be hypocritical. I love the players. I love Pierce. But this is a coup in terms of a haul for the Rams. How about the Baltimore Ravens? Malachi Starks, are you kidding me? Safety out of an SEC school? I mean, this is like right out of central casting here for Eric DeCosta. The Cowboys go with the offensive lineman instead of the running back or the wide receiver. They go with the beef instead of the sizzle. And Booker at 12, listen, he's from Bama. He's nasty. He's got an attitude. Great. I personally would have drafted Hampton. I personally would have drafted Golden. Let's see what happens today. Will McClay, Stephen Jones, they do a great job. They're super smart. I think that's important to follow that because, in theory, the Cowboys today must draft a starting wide receiver, WR2, and most especially the number one running back. A lot of good running backs available. Have to be able to take care of business. Henderson from Ohio State would be amazing for the Dallas Cowboys. Saints pass on the quarterback. Are they going to draft Jalen Milroe tonight? I think that is pretty interesting. Take a look at the odds on Jalen Milroe from DraftKings. Saints are plus 350. And I want you to remember, we had Mike Tannenbaum on Make It Rain with Adam Schein. He compared Milroe to Jalen Hurts, who Kellen Moore had in Philadelphia. Just won a championship with him. I think that the best option for New Orleans is Shedeur Sanders. Then I think it's my guy, Kyle McCord. But I think it's very likely here that they go with Jalen Milroe. Cam Scadaboo is one of the running backs available for day number 2. Going to be very interested to see where he goes. I think a good bet for Scadaboo, and he won't be one of the first 3 or 4 running backs off the board. I think the Broncos at plus 900, I think that makes a lot of sense. Time right now for the best bets brought to you by G-Bank, official bank of VSiN. G-Bank's up in the all-ante with a $750 bonus. New G-Bank Visa Signature Card customers. First new customers spend $1,000 on eligible purchases in 90 days from account opening. Get $250 bonus. In addition, if you spend $50,000 on gaming and sports app loads in the first 30 days of the account opening, you get another $500 bonus, potentially a $750 bonus. Apply now at VSiN.com/GBank, subject to the old credit approval. Terms and conditions apply. Our Friday best bets will sprinkle in a little NBA. Lakers, money line. Why not? I think they learned from what happened in game number 1. And I know it's in Minnesota. We love LA. Do what I'm going to do. Right after us, go to the VSiN Watch app and make sure you're locked in to Follow the Money with Mitch and Paulie. Thanks to our incredible producer, the great Mike Cohen. Have a great weekend. Talk to you Monday. Make it rain without a shine.